Oh, we're good now. All right, now we run. All right, take two. Apologies, apologies for anyone who watched that first one. All right, so doing something a bit different today. Uh, Last night I made a turn this light on. Last night I made a video with the price reveals, kind of talking about how I felt with them, and let's just say camera went off. It took me 3.5 hours from the time I finished recording to the time I could upload it to YouTube. And so today I'm just saying, screw it, let's just go live and do it that way. Save me some 3.5 hours on my Sunday. But a lot to talk about today. You do this a little podcasty style. A lot to talk about today. We have more price release. The game feels like it's going to get released either tomorrow or Tuesday. That's what it feels like right now. And right as I turn this on, I get a notification saying Bournemouth just released their prices. We'll get to that in a second, so I'll get my live reaction with that. But I want to start right now with Chelsea. Chelsea have a couple interesting things here. I think the first thing and the biggest thing to me was the battle between Chilwell and Reece James. I'm a little surprised they both came in at 6 mil. I thought for sure Reece James would be 6.5, Chilwell would be 6. I feel like Reece James would be the more popular pick. And I don't know the stats between the two of them. I haven't looked it up just yet. But I feel like Reece James is going to be more selected going into game week 1. Especially because we look at their schedule. And I really wanted to get into this Chelsea defense with Everton, Leeds, and Leicester in 3 of their first 4. I mean, Leicester a bit of a wild card because you never know what you're going to get. I could have put him gray there in the rankings, but I put him there as green just because at the end of last year I thought they were a bit not in the best form, let's just say. But Reece James and Chilwell, it's a bit of a tough one for me. I'm trying to look it up right now so I could see their difference in stats. I should have done it before I started. But I am surprised. I feel like Reece James is going to be the pick. I think you could go differential and get Chilwell. I mean, think back to before he got hurt, he was on everybody's list. But it's a bit of a tough one between those two. I'll get in that more here in a second, but I want to, as I look up their stats, I want to say Mason Mount coming in at 8. There are a lot of good 8.5 mil midfielders right now. So it's going to be tough, man. Mount's one of those guys where I feel like year in, year out, everyone's saying, oh, he might, I don't know, but he performs. He puts in good FPL numbers at the end of the year. So 8 mil I feel like is a good price. I feel like he's on maybe on the cheaper end, and maybe they go a little more because I feel like he's a bit of a popular pick. And so I feel like he might be selected high, but I don't know. I'm unsure about Mason Mount. I think 8 mil is a good price. I don't think it's... I think it's a good price. He's going to be highly owned going into it. But another big one here is Mendy at 5 mil. I am quite shocked that Mendy is 5 mil only. I thought that he'd be... I'm glitching right now, innit? I thought that Mendy would come in at 5.5, just like Allison is, just like most likely, or Ederson is. Or I don't know exactly if they both are, but I thought that he'd be 5.5. I am shocked he's at 5. It's a really cheap way to get in that Chelsea defense. At this point, too, if you're thinking I'm going to go, because a popular thing, too, is going 4.5 mil rotating keepers and just pick which one has a better schedule. If that's kind of your gameplay, at this point, I feel like just go 5 mil for Mendy and then go 4 mil for just a keeper on the bench. I'm going to switch Wi-Fi's here. No, I'm not. That one's worse. But Mendy at 5 mil, man, I feel like that's a steal. I feel like he's going to be big. I know I saw last season he wasn't necessarily, I think like there are a couple 4.5s that scored more points than him, but it's such a cheap way to get in that Chelsea defense. At only 5 mil, woo! So a couple shockers here. So looking back, I just pulled up Chilwell stats here. Chilwell over the last couple seasons, I know he got hurt last year, but 7 games into the season, he had 0.6 goal involvement per 90, which is really freaking high. 0.34 expected. So even then, he performed above his expected, but even then, 0.3 as a defender is pretty good. Season before that, he was at 0.3 and 0.2 goal involvement and then XG respectively. And so now I'm going to try to see I think I just got a splinter on my toe from my desk. So I'm going to go see Reece James, kind of compare the both. I do indeed have a splinter on my toe. All right, so as far as Reece James, last season, he just filled up the stats, man. Last season, 0.68, so dang near the same as Chilwell. He did play more games than Chilwell last year. 0.68, 0.4 non-penalty expected. The season before that was 0.1 and 0.18. And so last season, Chilwell performed better, but last season, Reece James just went wild at 0.7 and 0.4. And I think the big thing we talked about, I think last year was maybe a bit of a rotation with Reece James. Obviously, he got hurt at times and wouldn't play there, but I think with Azpilicueta, you see him there at 5, but I don't know if he's going to be playing for Chelsea going into game week 1. I haven't been keeping up too much. I know Barcelona have been talking a lot about bringing him in, so we'll see what happens with that. As far as everybody else, Havertz going to a forward kind of hurts. I feel like a big part of him last season was him playing out of position, but with Lukaku gone, he's most likely going to be playing up top when he does play, him and Werner. And so it was a good call for FPL to do so, but I just miss, I don't know, it's hard for me to bring him in as a forward. As a midfielder, I think he would have been a good option, but I don't know about a forward. My boy Christian Pulisic, man, it just hurts me to see him go 6 mil. When he first came to the Prem, there were so many people talking about how Pulisic was balling out. I think it was like 8.5 that first year, got a hattie. Was doing really well as a popular pick going into game week 1 the season after, and just hasn't performed, man. I hope he starts getting hot. He's been lacking as far as like finishing wise. He's been lacking going there. Incredible with the ball, incredible with dribbling, great pace. He just been that finishing touch. He's been lacking. So I hope that he can pick it up and get going, because if he does, man, I would love to see Pulisic really shine. Who else we got? I should have changed my other background to the same one as that so it look more cleaner. But anyway, Mendy being at 5 mil is a shock. Reece James and Chilwell is going to be something that's going to be talked about all the time on FPL Twitter going into game week 1. People going back and forth. So easy to swap between the two. And I think we still have a lot of time to see what happens with preseason. See how Chilwell's knee is holding up going into game week 1. Everything else to me looks pretty good. Pulisic to 6 mil. I hope he gets hot. The battle between James and Chilwell is going to be hot. Mason Mount, good price. All right, so we got West Ham now. Or should I just go to Bournemouth? I haven't seen Bournemouth. No, let's go. Keep going West Ham. Also, if anyone has anything they want to talk about, any player that have surprised you, maybe too high, maybe a bit too low, please throw them in the comments. All right, so now we got Bowen. Bowen, to me, listen, this dude last year was... He was one of the best players in the Prem last year for a long time. And then he got hurt, kind of sizzled up, and then got hot at the end of the year again. But for me, he looked so freaking good last year. I think he scored 200 plus last season. But regardless, Bowen coming at 8.5 mil for the production he put in last season is potentially a bit low, right? Again, him scoring one of the highest scoring midfielders. But that being said, I don't know if I want to have him in my team game week 1. I mean, Man City in the first game is... You can't ask for a harder game week 1. And with everything being so volatile when the first couple game weeks of the season, people throwing around, taking a bunch of hits, player prices going up and down. I just don't know if I want to have Bowen in my game week 1. But that being said, if you do have him, you got to be patient with it, right? Maybe he does get an attacking return in game week 1, even though the odds aren't too much in your favor that one. But then he has Nottingham Forest the week after that. Brighton, who were a bit tougher, but they did lose Basuma, who was a big part of their defense as a holding midfielder, if you will. Then they have Villa, who's I put him green here, but you never know with them, a bit of a wild card. But 3 of their first 4, it's not the worst schedule for West Ham. Again, I like to plan personally. I like to plan for the first 4 game weeks of the season, kind of see how things go. But for me, I just don't know if I'll be going with Bowen. I think with a lot of midfielders being at that same price range, whether it's Luis Diaz or Mason Mount that we already talked about, probably Madison's going to be around that 7.5. I just think there are a lot of really good other options out there for 8.5 mil with better fixtures to start the season than Bowen. But man, he looks 8.5. Man, that could be a good price going into quite a few game weeks in the season. All Sports Fan Adam, what's up, man? I won't be going for Bowen unless a premium is out and I need to downgrade. Yeah, 8.5 is just a tricky price. I I think if he had better fixtures, I might be more tempted, but I think there are a lot of good options at 8 mil. I think can I check from here? I can't check from here. But yeah, I'm with you. 8.5 just a bit too heavy for me. Yeah. Antonio at 7.5. This dude came out of the box hot last season, out of the gates hot. Was putting up double-digit performance after double-digit performance. But again, 7.5 mil. There's a lot of strikers that 7.5, 7. No, more at 7.5, 8 mil price range. Camera. And so I don't know. Yeah, Saka also being another one at 8 mil that I'd probably go for over Bowen, especially with his fixtures. Antonio 7.5. It's a bit tough. Because I just didn't like how he. I mean, I didn't like how he played, but he just wasn't very prolific at the end of the season. As halfway through the season on, wasn't getting too many attacking returns. So Antonio was a bit. Oof. 7.5. I think it's a great price. I just don't think I'll be putting him in my team at this point. But someone to keep an eye on as the season progresses. Other prices here. So you fall at 4.5 mil, I think is a great price. Getting pretty good attacking returns here, I would imagine. I think, I mean, again, I don't want anybody for that game week 1, but am I going to hold for Nottingham Forest, who probably doesn't score? Maybe. Brighton, not the best attacking wise, potentially. So I could see 2 out of the first 3 potential clean sheets, but do I trust West Ham's defense enough? I don't know. And then last year's Ben Rama, who came out the gates hot as well last year. But again, some good prices here. Suchek, again, last 2 seasons ago was just outrageous. But for me, I think West Ham, Bowen, maybe a bit too expensive for his fixtures. Too many other midfielders I'd rather have over him going into game week 1. But we'll see what happens when I start really building a team and going for it. Yeah, I think that's really the big ones that stick out for me here. All right, Newcastle. And I didn't change a grade on that last one. That last one should be, I think it's Wilson at 7.5. If you're watching this, please forgive me. Aguerd should be Wilson. I forgot to change that on my computer before I did this. Should be 7.5 mil for Wilson. Which, again, is another tricky price. Another reason why I don't think I'd be going for Antonio game week. Well, actually, looking at this, let's start with their fixtures, right? Nottingham Forest in game week 1, really great option. Brighton in 2, tricky. And then City is really tough. Wolverhampton with a good defense. The thing with Newcastle, I think they're one of my main. They have one of my biggest. What are they going to do this year? One of my biggest question marks. Last year, for the first half of the season, they were struggling, really trying to get over that hump, trying to get out of relegation, and then I don't know exactly when they got their new manager, but they got a new manager and they just took off. I mean, I thought they were I think if I'm not mistaken, they had one of the top 5 most points scored after the new year. Something crazy like that. So I think Newcastle, are they going to go back to game weeks 1 to 18, whatever it was? Or are they going to go on how they were to finish the season off to where I think they could get top 10? I think they were playing that well last year. Was it a fluke with a new manager or is it a real deal? I'm really excited for that. So I think, again, I'm a bit of a question mark with them going in. The good news is they have Nottingham Forest in game week 1 at home. A great start. Brighton in game week 2. Again, they're game week 2 to game week 4. Pretty good defenses with the City being an incredible defense. So I don't know how much they're going to score after game week 1. But but just looking at their fixtures, people to keep an eye out for, right? St. Max. I'm really happy they kept St. Maximin as a midfielder, or I think they moved him back because I think last year he was a forward. I'm glad they moved him back to midfield, and at 6.5 mil, if Newcastle can make a couple more signings, get hot, get a good fixtures, I know it's a lot to ask for, and play like they will be last year. Where I personally, if I had to predict my Premier League table right now, I'd probably put Newcastle in my top 10. I'd have to fill it all out though before I really feel comfortable saying that. But St. Maximin at 6.5, dude. This guy could be a great bargain at that. Bruno G at 6. Bruno G, this dude is great. If you saw him at the end of last year, you saw him play a bit for Brazil. Bruno G is quite the player. I think a 6 mil could be a great pick. I actually do think Newcastle here have some really good picks going forward. Maybe not game week 1. Yeah, Bruno G last year was racking up the points. Last season after joining, he potentially has have a nightmare start. Wait, sorry. Potentially nightmare start potential, but they have a nightmare start. I'll be avoiding at the start. Maybe players. Yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you. I have Newcastle top 10. You have top 7. Yeah, but for me, it's just the Forest game that looks great. Everything else after that looks tough. I'm trying to look up St. Maximin's, or not St. Max. I'm trying to look up Bruno G. Yeah, it's just for me. I think it's an avoid. I just think their fixtures are too tough to start the season. If you're wild carding in 5, oh, there we go, Dylan, perfect timing. Dylan, perfect timing. My Newcastle's specialist, and my laptop just died. Dylan is a huge Newcastle supporter. Dylan, what do you think of these price fixtures? I don't think I've talked to you about them today yet on the Discord. What do you think about these prices? I think for me, I think they're good. I think there are a lot of really good options. I think this could be like Leeds a couple years ago, where because of how good they could perform, potentially top 10, and if their fixtures get right, I think we could be seeing a double up on Newcastle here when their fixtures turn. Sorry, again, looking at Bruno G stats live. Again, I wasn't gonna do this on like a live stream kind of a thing, but with my laptop taking 3.5 hours to post to YouTube last night, gotta do what I gotta do. Oh yeah, Bruno G last season when he came into Newcastle, 11 games started, 6 attacking returns. Not bad. I mean, he doesn't score too much when he was at Lyon, but maybe in this system he's at 0.4 expected goal involvement last season. So I think he could be a really good pick when things change. I think St. Maximin at 6.5 mil, as I talked about before, is a really, really good price when things get going. I also think that that Trippier at 5 mil is, dude, keep an eye out for him. Again, apologies for not putting Wilson there in the graphics at 7.5. But Trippier at 5 mil, dude, we all know how good Trippier's right foot is when he's on set pieces for Newcastle. He did get hurt last year, but when he came in, when he first came in with Newcastle, he was on fire. And on top of all of that, they've made some really good signings going into this season. Yeah, last year he had 2 goals for Newcastle in 5 starts, 6 games total. I think Trippier could be a really good pick because for me, you look at their defense, and I think they bolstered it this year. They brought in they have Burn, who's only 4.5 mil. He could be a really popular pick at some point. You have Trippier, Burn, and then to top it all off, man, they got an absolute stud and keeper in Nick Pope. With Pope as a keeper, I think that kind of bolsters their defense. I don't know how high they'll be with clean sheets. I think they still have some holes they need to work on. But with Target, Burn, Trippier, Schär, and Pope, I think that back line could be seeing some prolific numbers when their fixtures turn. So again, I think I avoid Newcastle to start the season, but going into I don't know exactly what their schedule looks like after game week 4, but with Pope in goal, that defense could be really nice. All right, the Bandit, what's up, man? St. Maximin is a steal, but he is injury prone. Yeah, but he is injury prone. He did get injured a few times. Hopefully he figures that out this year and doesn't get as injured this season. Oh my gosh, can't talk right now. But then moving him back to midfield is huge, and being 6.5, so I think he's cheaper than he was last year, and he's a midfielder. Win-win. St. Maximin, Trippier, and Bruno G the best prices there, Sean. I reckon Wilson will be 0.5 cheaper, and Pope maybe should be 4.5. I really wish Pope was 4.5. He'd be a no-brainer in my squad. But Pope coming into the squad just, did the league bottom price? I don't know. Did they? I'm not sure. I haven't been on Twitter here in a minute, in like an hour since I started the stream, or I was getting ready for the stream. St. Max at 6.5 could be a great price, sorta, but a better team now going forward. Yeah, I think they look good going forward. I just like them. I think also another one to look at is Willock. I don't know how prolific he's going to be this season. I don't know how many attacking returns he'll get, but Willock at 5 mil for someone probably going to start midfield for Newcastle consistently. I think that's nice. I think I'm going to go for ASM and Trippier in my team. I'm with it. St. Max is going to allow you to spend more money on the midfield, whether you're bringing in Salah, Haaland. I don't know what price Son and Kane are going to come in tomorrow. But St. Max could be a really good enabler. And dude, Trippier is just a beast. All right, let's see what we got next. Southampton. I think Botman will be 5 mil too. Yeah, Willock at 5 mil. I mean, was it 2 seasons ago, Dylan, where he came in and at the end of last year he was just killing it. I think was it 2 years ago we had like 7 goals in 6 games or something crazy like that. I think it was Willock, but he could be a great price at 5 mil for someone who is potentially gets attacking returns. I think there's fur on my hat. All right, Southampton. Hey, camera. All right, a couple things to mention here. I'm doubling on Chelsea, definitely both at 6. Yeah, I was actually thinking about going through like my first kind of pseudo draft here in a minute on FPL Live. I think that does it, or is it FPL Team? Whatever site does it, I might just try to mess around and do like a pseudo draft before the game gets released. Because yeah, dude, with Chelsea, with having Chilwell and Reece James at 6, you have Trent at 7.5, who's going to outscore a lot of £8 million midfielders, if not most or all. You have Robbo at 7 mil, Cancelo at was Cancelo at 7? Someone remind me how much Cancelo was. But yeah, I think big at the back, and then you have White and Tomiyasu who were 4.5. I think might go 5 to start the season. Remember when Willock went on a scoring spree of any kind? Repeat at 5 and he will be a bargain. Yeah, that dude had like, I need to look it up, but it was like 7 goals in 6 matches if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna type it into FB Ref real quick on my phone. Let's see. We'll just get in trouble. So 2 seasons ago, he had 8 goals and 11 starts. Get out of here. LA Galaxy next game is tomorrow. 4th of July game. Whee-wee. Yeah, a couple of years ago, he had 7 goals in 7 games. 7 goals in 7 games, Joe Willock. And one of those was in 10 minutes. Another one of those was in 12 minutes. Yeah, dude, this guy got hot to end the season. If he can kind of recapture that flame, capture that form, 5 mil could be a steal for him when his fixtures turn. Southampton lose 7 and 8 to Leicester and United. Not for me. Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time with Southampton here. I just don't think there are many people I want. I'm just going to talk about it real quick and kind of move on from here. Cancelo is 7, yeah. So I think it could be another season where defenders outscore a lot of midfielders. Appreciate that. Who's this Bello Kachab dude? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm not sure. I've been off the grid for a little bit because I've been in grad school heavy. And I just started my first clinical rotation, but I need to look into that. But yeah, for me, Southampton, I'm not going to touch. Tottenham game week 1. Leeds game week 2. It's all right. It's good. It's a good fixture, especially if Rafinha leaves. Leicester away, not a big fan of that game. United in 4, I just don't like. So for me, Ward-Prowse, Walker-Peters. Ward-Prowse is one of those guys where he's not going to get many attacking returns as far as like open play stuff. I feel like that's what I'm going to convince myself every time. And then he's going to get an assist. He's going to get a set piece goal, and he'll score 140 points this year and be a good price for 6.5. But I just don't know. I just never been the biggest fan of him in FPL wise. One of the best free kick takers, if not the best free kick taker in the world, though. It's monster. Walker Peters. Again, I just don't like anybody's defense at Southampton. I think Walker Peters going into maybe when their fixtures flip. I don't know exactly when they do, at the top of my head. But when their fixtures flip, Walker Peters at 4.5 mil is a great option. It's nice to see some 4.5 million pound defenders out there for us. Shea Adams at 6.5 mil could be good. He's had some finishing problems in the past at times, but 6.5 mil for someone who's going to be nailed on up top, I think it's good. But again, it's about as much as I want to go for it with Southampton. And now I have, I haven't done, Bournemouth, when I first started this, Bournemouth had their stuff leaked. I'm going to go look on it on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter if you want FPL Don, except for I'm not the biggest fan of Twitter. Not a big Twitter guy myself. And Kyrie Irving going to Lakers, that would be wild. And y'all just saw my personal Twitter. I don't use that either. All right, here we go. It was Bournemouth, right? Ah! Let's do this. Apologies for this taking some time. Good old Son, man. What a beast. As I do this, who are you looking for? What are your price predictions on Son and Kane tomorrow? And even Kulusevski. All right, let's see what we got. All right, live reaction to Bournemouth. Now, I don't know too many players from Bournemouth at this moment, so I do have to do a lot of studying. Billing, all right. 5.5 mil. Anthony at 5.5. Who they have earlier at the beginning? They had Solanke at 6. Please correct me if I'm saying his name wrong. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he had a really good season last year. I remember seeing his name circulating on Twitter, and I got an email. Cool. Yeah, what did he get last year? 29 goals, 7 assists. Woo! In a championship last season. What did he do before that? He played for Liverpool and Chelsea when he was a youngin. I don't think he got any. He did get time with Liverpool when he was there. Premier League, 5 stars. Yeah, so really he started getting pretty prolific in front of goal these last 2 seasons. I mean, when he was playing with Liverpool in the Premier League, he was 19 years old. So one to keep an eye out for. I'll just go back to here. One to keep an eye out for sure. I just I don't know what their I'm gonna look at their schedule right now. It's just hard for me to trust newly promoted sides going into game week 1. It's hard for me to trust them in general, really. But so going to where's Bournemouth at? They have Villa game week 1, City, Arsenal, Liverpool. Yeah, no, that's a quick avoid. quick avoid for me. They play 3 of the top 6 teams in game weeks 2 to 4. No, thank you. And then they have Wolverhampton in 5, which is not easy either. All right, so going back to West Ham, I think I'm going to end this here pretty soon unless anyone has any questions or comments. I was just going to keep this a quick reaction to the fixture, the reveals, price reveals that happened today. So as far as West Ham, after Villa in game week 4, they have Tottenham and Chelsea. So yeah, until game week 6, is it? Game week 7, I think I'm going to stay away from Bowen. But come game week 6, you got Newcastle at home, you got Everton, Wolverhampton, Fulham, Southampton. Tough one on Liverpool, but then Bournemouth. So in game week 7, I think Bowen's going to be a really popular pick, potentially Soufal as well. We'll see what happens with Antonio. Chelsea in game week after, if we're if we're just expanding their fixtures, they have Arsenal in 5, City at 6, Leicester at 7. So again, I feel like the wild card potentially to 8 might be something just real quick I'm looking at, might be the play. Game week 8 to game week 14, Chelsea have a really good run of fixtures. The first 4 look good for Chelsea, or first 3 look really good for Chelsea, but nope, never mind. Check that. I was looking at Villa. Oh my gosh. Is it the 4th of July yet? Chelsea after game week 4, please forgive me. After game week 4, Chelsea have Southampton at 5, West Ham, Fulham, Liverpool, Crystal Palace. So I think they have a good run for a long time. With a couple hiccups here and there, Chelsea have a good run. So potentially double up with James. You can even go Mendy, Chilwell, James. Newcastle after game week 4, they have Liverpool and Crystal Palace. I think it kind of clears up after Liverpool in game week 5. So maybe in like game week 6 when they play Crystal Palace, West Ham, Bournemouth, Fulham, Brentford, United, and Everton. Maybe that's when I go with St. Max. Maybe that's when I go with Bruno G. But at this moment, I feel like that's going to be what I'm doing. Kane and Son at 12, Kulusevski 8.5. I think that's a bit reasonable. I think, but because Kulusevski only played half the season last year, I think they probably put him in at like 7.5, 8, if I had to guess. Especially because Richarlison is there now. And I don't know how much playing time Kulusevski's going to get. I don't know what they're going to do with that formation. I'm just too many question marks for me, so we'll see. Just Captain Son for game week 1. Who does Son play in game week 1? I know, man. I swear, if Son does the same thing he did to me this year that he did to me last year, I'll be very upset. They play Southampton game week 1. The only problem though is Liverpool will play Fulham in game week 1. So I think advantage might go Salah. I don't know, man. It's gonna be hard this season. Richarlison is not priced just yet. I think they wanted to take some time after him going to Tottenham to really release him. Anthony was listed as a forward last season, and Gaffer this year he's a midfielder. Yeah, I'm with you though. To the next comment, I'm not touching Bournemouth to start. Their fixtures look way too tough. I'm going nowhere near them. It's hard enough again for me to trust someone that's just coming up into the Prem. Camera, let alone when their schedule looks like that. I mean, you see players like Mitrovic who struggle to start the season, Tony that struggle to start the season, but then you have some players who come in and they just get hot, like Bamford did really well last year or 2 years ago. So you never know, but for me, it's just too fickle, and so I like to stay away normally from promoted players. But expect that fixture run, no thank you. What are the comments I got before I kind of wrap this up? Probably the team with the worst start. Yeah, Bournemouth. I would probably guess so. If I'm just looking at fixtures right now, Bournemouth plays City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. 3 of their first 4. I don't think there's anybody nearly with that bad of a fixture run. There are a couple bad ones, but I think they're the worst, and I don't think it's close. Yeah, that's just bad. Oh, I'm just looking ahead to Arsenal. If any Arsenal supporters out there, game week 9, just listen to game week 9. They have Tottenham, then Liverpool, Leeds, but then they have City, and then a couple weeks after that they have Chelsea. It's gonna be a tough run for Arsenal there. I guess while I'm here, wrapping things. Hold on, I might just go and show everybody else that I have here. Bowen at 8.5 is too high. Yeah, I think so. I think I would have liked it more if they would have kept him at 8, like a lot of other midfielders I'm seeing. I just think at this point I'd rather have Mason Mount or rotating Luis Diaz than Bowen. But yeah, I mean we'll see. We'll see. For me, it's the fixtures and him being around so many other midfielders that price that have better fixtures. Problem is Benrahma and Fornals are much cheaper than Bowen. Yeah, bingo. But we'll see, man. We'll see what happens to start the season. It's so hard to predict. Every year you have players that come in, you're like, oh, they're gonna be great. Get them into your squad, and then they do nothing. You have players you're like, oh, they're gonna be great. You look at, I don't want to put anybody on blast. I'm not gonna say any names, but you have players that come in, you're like, oh, they're gonna be fantastic. Must have. Put them in your squad, and they just do nothing. So it's really hard to predict. But I'm with you at this point. That'd be my guess. Bowen at 8.5 would need to improve even on last season unless a punt for an injured player. For me, I'm just waiting for fixtures or if some. I'm with you. I agree with that. All sports fans, Adam. All sports fan, Adam. What's your favorite sport? Or top 2? Me and Aguirre share the same last name and birthday. Serious? I mean, what are the chances you share a birthday with him too? That's crazy. I haven't seen a play. I need to go and look up to watch him. The hard part with me going into the season is because in America we have 0 championship games on television here. I can't really watch anybody except for on YouTube. So I'm really looking forward to starting the season. If you missed last week's stuff, Villa Watkins is a really good pick to start the season in my opinion. But again, we'll see. Again, the hard thing though here is if you're getting Haaland or Kane as a striker, then like for me, is Watkins at 7.5 mil going to outscore Robbo at 7 mil? Is he going to outscore Trent? I guess Trent's going to be in team. Is he going to outscore Reece James that's at 6 mil? So it's if you want to go like attacking wise and really get 2 strikers, 3 strikers, I think Watkins is a good pick, but a bit tough. Fulham is a stay away. This is up there with hard schedules. Liverpool 1. Wolverhampton, good defense 2, and then Arsenal 4. Wolverhampton, I think, just real quick refresh from last season. Jimenez, we'll see what happens with him. I think Johnny at 4.5 and Ait Nouri at 4.5 are just phenomenal picks. Sancho and Rashford. Rashford to me is the biggest question mark going into game week 1. Because if Ronaldo does leave, I think Rashford could see a lot more time. And is he going to be, hitting the training hard now that Is he going to hit training hard now that he had a bit of a disappointment last year and a little bit the year before that? Is he going to say, hey, I'm out here to be the Rashford that everyone knows that I can be? See, I started watching him last year because of in that French league. He had because of that in French league, he's a great center back. Yeah, so even the French league, we don't really get too much. But yeah, there we go. What team did he play for last year in the French league? Football, horse racing, probably, bro. But I also know baseball, hockey, American football, tennis. Dang, you do watch everything. I was lighted. AVS stopped lighting. AVS stopped. Oh yeah, the Avs. Sorry, Colorado Avalanche. Come on, Sean. They stopped Lightning from getting a 3-peat, but I also want Celtics to beat Warriors. Yeah. As a Laker fan, you know, I'll leave it at that. Could this Alonga guy break out at 5 mil? You know what, dude? I think so. I think there's so many question marks with United going into the season. You have, I mean, let's just talk about having a new manager for the first time. You never know who the manager is going to think of a certain player, if he's going to favor him or not. You never know what, well, I guess we do kind of know what style he's going to play, but you never know who's going to really incorporate that style really well. You know what I mean? And so I think there's just so many question marks going into it. Potentially losing Ronaldo, a new season, maybe teams start figuring out Alonga more. But last year, I thought he looked really good, man. Let's see, he had 8 starts and he had 4 goals and 2 assists. So 6 attacking returns and 8 starts for United. At only 19 years old. Oh, wait, that was Premier League Division 2. Lo siento. In the Premier League, he had 14 starts and 4 attacking returns. The season before that, he was in there. So, I mean, the stats... just lost it. The stats as far as like XG is at 0.3, which I think is good, especially for a £5 million midfielder. So the stats looked all right, but again, for $5 million, it looked great. As far as the eye test, every time I watched Alonga play, I felt good about him. I would talk to my United supporters all the time, my friends who are United supporters, and they consistently talked about how they liked Alonga. He's only 20 years old or something like that. He's really holding it down. I think at 5 mil, that could be another one of those really good enablers. I like him. The only question to me again is just with a new manager, with United being so, I don't want to say toxic over the past couple years, but something's in the water there. We always like to blame managers here in the life of sports. We always like to, because I feel like they're just an easy scapegoat. But there's something in that locker room, maybe. What if it's a man? Was it the manager? Was it something in the front office? Is it just the environment there? There's something up at United. They're too talented to be doing what they've been doing, or they have too many talented players. But yeah, I think Alonga at 5, Rashford at 6.5, Sancho at 7.5, even Bruno at 10. With Ronaldo being gone, Bruno on penalties full time. Maybe he loves this new style of play. And Bruno becomes one of those must-have in your team again like he was 2 years ago. Liverpool, let's see. Watching Ten Hag play style, Sancho could be the best pick if he starts on the wing. He played for next. Oh, he did. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I agree. Dude, you watch Sancho play, you watch his highlights, you watch his gameplay from the last couple years before he went to United, and this dude was nasty. 5-star skill, this dude was incredible. And then he comes to United and just kind of just sizzles out. But we'll see what happens again. Maybe with going to a new league, it just takes some time. Takes some time to really get accustomed to a new league, a new style, new teammates. He's still young. So there's a lot of things that I kind of can give him the benefit of the doubt going into last year. But he could be poised for a big year this year. 7.5 mil. Ronaldo won't be at United. He wants to break the Champions League record, at least give his best shot so you can see him staying in it all. Extend the record. Yeah, I think Ronaldo's out. It's so hard when you go from being, I mean, this is just me speculating. It's so hard from when you go from being one of the best players of all time, winning 5 Champions Leagues, being in there every single year in, year out for since what, like 2008 or whatever it was. And now he doesn't play in the Champions League. I feel like at this point in your career, man, you don't have many good years left when you're that age. You got to take advantage of it as best as you can. If you're not in the Champions League or if you're not in a potential to even win your league, I think you got to move, and I think that'd be what I would think about if I was Ronaldo. That's just me speculating. CR7 doesn't want to settle the last 2 or 3 years being out. Yeah, exactly, man. If you only have 2 years left in your prime, I don't know how long he has left. You never know. But Father Time is undefeated, except for with Tom Brady at this moment. But we'll see. But yeah, Christie at this point, man, he's got to play Champions League. I just don't know where he's going to go. I don't know where he's going to go if he does leave. I don't think he stays in the Prem if he leaves. PSG doesn't want him, I don't think, from what I was reading. I don't think Real Madrid would want him back at this point. I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Any questions, comments, get them in. Salah at 13 mil, good price. I thought he'd be a bit expensive. Trent at 7.5. Definitely thought he'd be more expensive. CR7 to PSG, Neymar to Chelsea or Juventus. Man, Neymar, man. Just so much talent. Great stream, bro. Let's hope Reece James racks up the goals and assists. Could be a bargain if Chelsea sign more center backs. Yeah, center halves. I think they could. The thing with Chelsea, that's a really good point, and I want to talk about that real quick before I end the stream. With Chelsea, Reece James, incredible right back. Chilwell, very, very good left back, especially in FPL. Mendy, a solid goalkeeper. Thiago Silva, we all know how good he's been. The only problem here that I'm seeing with their defense is Azpilicueta could be going to Barcelona. Thiago Silva is getting older, so is he going to play week in, week out? Rudiger is gone. Christensen is gone. So what are they going to do with their center halves? It's tough. I think I was reading they were trying to get excuse me. Let me fact check it before I say it. I think they're trying to get Koundé. I think that's how you say his name. But they might have dropped out of the race for him. Let's see what they're up with Chelsea. I haven't been. But Barcelona are also going after Koundé themselves. I think Koulibaly might be on the move. I don't know. There's too many things I'm seeing that are like, where there's smoke, there's fire, but I haven't necessarily seen anything confirming to me and saying, yeah, it's going to happen. Like, here's one that says he's seemed to destined to move to Chelsea, Koundé, that is, with the player agreeing on personal term months ago. Yes, that did happen, but the teams did not. But I just don't know if that's actually going to happen. I don't know. And so until it happens or until I hear something more specific, and again, talked with De Ligt, but De Ligt is so expensive, I don't know if they can do it. I mean, they could. Koulibaly against where there's smoke, there's fire. Ake. There's too many question marks for me right now. There's too many question marks. But I mean, yeah, if they get a quality center half, beautiful. Chelsea's defense with Tuchel there, nice. Chelsea, if Chelsea concede a lot, suddenly James becomes like Shaw last season. Yeah, that could be my worry again with that. Is I've talked about it before on streams with Chelsea's defense. What's their defense going to look like in comparison to last season? I mean, I think at the end of last season you saw what happened. Or at the end of last season they started getting a bit more vulnerable defensively, and without clean sheets, I agree. Like, is Reece James, with only getting an attacking return as a defender every like 4 or 5 games, is that enough without clean sheets to have him in your squad when you can go up to Cancelo, when you can go down and save some cash? But the good news is we have a long time before the season starts, and there's going to be a lot of transfers happening, you would imagine so. And so let's just see what happens with Chelsea and see what happens, how they look in the preseason and whatnot. And I agree. The beautiful thing about that point, all sports fans, Adam, is I should just say Adam, right? The beautiful thing is you see it with Trent. You see it with you can say it with Marcelo back in the day, with Dani Alves back in the day. I'm not comparing them. I'm just saying I'm not comparing them as players. I know I'll get roasted if I don't say that here. But what I am saying is with teams like that when they possess the ball a lot and they get forward, it allows, and they have solid center backs. You know, when it was Van Dijk, who I talked about earlier, with Sergio Ramos, when they have the solid center half, solid center mids that can track back, they possess the ball, they can really get forward and you really get high up the pitch. They're allowed the freedom to do that because of the safety net they have behind them. If they don't have those center halves behind them that are that strong, is Reece James going to get that high up the pitch? Is he going to be allowed the freedom to get up there? We'll see. And so there's a lot of question marks going into it. But yeah, I think that'll end my stream. I'll be back. I think tomorrow oh no, I won't be back tomorrow. It's 4th of July. So I will be a bit too sauced to make a video. Maybe I will in the morning, just before I get going. But that was my video. Hopefully you enjoy it. I'm gonna end the stream here. Appreciate all y'all. Let me know what you guys think about which assets you liked, what prices came out that you thought were favorable, who you thought was too much, who you thought was way too cheap. Let them know in the comments. Have a beautiful day. Take some time of your day to make someone smile, as always. Y'all know the drill. And